Hello everyone. It is Jackie with Pocket or Preschool, and tonight's Facebook Live is all about making slime and how to sneak in some literacy and sneak in some math and to add some extra fine motor. And just different ideas on some other fun things you can do with slime in the classroom other than just make slime and it kind of be done. Can you guys do me a favor and in the comments, will you guys write or post what is your favorite slime? Or do you not make slime in the classroom, or does it never turn out? Like, what are your slime experiences and what are your favorites? Because we all want to know about you too. So we're just gonna hop right in. So this is my go-to slime recipe. And on my Facebook page this week, I went live, or last week, I think it was last Friday. Anyways, I'll post it, I'll link it in the group. We actually make slime during small group time sometimes with the kiddos. And it's just fun for them to mix and to measure, and it adds in all that math and science when you make it with them. And they're sharing, they're taking turns, they're watching the properties change and things like that. And the ingredients mixed together. So lots and lots of science too. So if you want to watch how I do it during small group time, I'll put the link in after we're done. This is my tried and true slime recipe. Just from making it over the years, and it's just what works for me, and you might have a different one that works for you, and that's great too. So I actually use liquid starch, and the only place I can find this at is Walmart or Amazon. It is much cheaper if you buy it at Walmart, but you can buy it on Amazon, and that works too. And I actually order it sometimes on Amazon if I can't make it to Walmart because I live in the country and I'm far away from things. And usually I don't have problems with it like getting poked or leaking or anything like that. So yeah, so Amazon or Walmart, and it's just Stay Flow liquid starch. And then the other thing I use is glue, and there's all different kinds of glue you can use. You can use white glue, you can use clear glue, you can use glitter glue. So any kind of glue works. At least that's what I found. Any kind of glue you have works. And you can buy, if you make slime a lot, you can buy the big gallon jugs of white glue or the clear glue, and that's cheaper if you make it a lot. But I typically, when I make it, I use these small bottles just because I use them to measure, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So we're gonna make some white slime. We're probably gonna make 2 slimes today, you guys, just so I can kind of show you different things to do with it. So the first one we'll make is we'll use clear glue. I use liquid watercolors. Oh, and I grabbed black. That's awesome. We'll make a different color, but that's okay. I usually use liquid watercolor to color if I use clear glue, or if you use white glue, I use liquid watercolor to color it. Like we made brown slime for mud, and it kind of looked like poop, and I use liquid watercolor. But that's what I use to color my slime, because I find it doesn't stain the kids' hands as much as when I use food coloring. So we'll just go with the flow here, and we'll make some blue glitter glue slime. So all I do is first thing I do is I pour in just the glitter glue. Somebody says if you have to use Elmer's glue. I don't think so, because I use a lot of the off-brand glue and like Discount School Supply, or I got a whole bunch of cheap glue from Scholastic from Office Max one year, and I think it all kind of works the same. At least that's what I found. So I just kind of squeeze all this out, and then I take water. And you don't have to use bottled water. I just use room temperature water, and I pour it right in the glitter glue container. So I use this to measure, or you can use a measuring cup. Just use the same one each time. Oh gosh, I dumped that in. So I knew this was gonna be a messy Facebook Live. And then I whisk it in. So I just get that glue, and I get the glue and the water to kind of mesh together. And then you can add, this is where I add in my mix-ins. So you can use, you can add more glitter, which I love to do. And there's different kinds of glitter you can use. There's like this fine glitter, that's like just super fine, like that iridescent. And then there's like fine glitter, but it's like long. And I get most of my glitter from Walmart or Michael's just on when it's on sale. But all these are from Walmart. And then there's like the regular glitter that's like the regular size. But the ones that are smaller, or there's like iridescent big glitter. And then there's also like the huge glitter chunks. Let me put this one up to kind of compare it. So there's also like the big glitter. And I found that this is a little messy in the classroom because sometimes the glitter is, because it's so big, it doesn't stick in the slime as much and it kind of like pops off. So you'll find this big glitter all over a little bit more than if you use like the regular size glitter or the super like iridescent. So I'm gonna add some more iridescent glitter. And then we'll add some of this blue iridescent glitter. And then you just whisk that together. And it's super glittery. And then I just take the liquid starch. Oh, and then if the glue goes down on the bottom, you can try and get it back out. But sometimes it doesn't come like it's doing now. And I just pour the liquid starch kind of right back in because you'll find that some of the glue will come out. And then just pour the liquid starch in. And I used, again, that same bottle. So kind of all the measurements are the same. And you'll see some of the glue will come out a little bit more since you put the liquid starch in. And the glitter glue, you can use the off-brand glitter glue too. I think it works. Oh gosh. Okay, so on this part, you need to take out the whisk. I forgot to do that. So on this part, once you add the liquid starch, you want to use a spoon. And you'll see it'll just kind of start coming together. And once it's kind of like this, where it's kind of like pulling away from the sides, what I do is I play with it for a minute and I kind of knead it like it's like dough. And the kids will be like, I want some. And I'll be like, well, tell me, like, what do you think happened? And I'll ask them questions about how we made the glue, what happened. So we can kind of like review the procedure. Yeah, so the measurements are like 1 to 1 to 1. So it's equal parts everything. At least that's what I usually find. Oh, Andrea says when I make slime with letters, does it pop off? Not really. If you use the smaller beads, I find that it stays in pretty good. They'll pop off a little bit, but if you use the bigger beads, it doesn't. And you can see in no time, it's just nice slime. And my hands are just a little bit messy just because I needed it, but you can hand it to the kids at this point, and they can take it, and then they can play with it. And then you have beautiful blue slime for your kiddos to play with. And why do we make slime? So why are we even doing this in our classroom, right? So is it sticky? Here, I'll wipe off my hands and I'll show you that it's not really sticky. And if you play with it for about 5 minutes or so, the more the kids play with it, the more it'll kind of like come together, and all the ingredients will like mesh, or whatever the scientific term for that is. They'll just kind of come together. So you can see now it's like not really sticking to my hands. And if you have a kiddo that does not like to touch slime, and they have some sensory things happening, or maybe they think it's gross. See, my hands really aren't really sticky anymore. Then put some slime in a baggie. That way they can do the activity too, but they're not having to touch it. So just put some slime in a baggie for them, and they can do it that way. And then maybe slowly as the year goes on, like maybe the first time they can just touch it with one finger, and the next time maybe have them touch it a couple times, whatever they're comfortable with before you put it in that baggie, and then slowly they can get used to that slime and the feeling of slime. And stuff like that. Because even though kiddos don't like to touch it, we don't want them left out of the activity, right? Because it's not their fault it grosses them out or it freaks them out. Like there are some things, I don't like to touch bugs. So we want to put it in a baggie so that way they can play with it. So you can see I just made it and it's good to go. So slime's good for fine motor, it's good for sensory, it's good for inside recess, it's good for those days when you can't get outside, or when they're just nuts at the end of the year. Like whenever they need some sensory input, this is great. If the kiddos, maybe somebody had a really crazy tantrum and they've calmed down all the way, or maybe they're on the way of calming down, they're not crying anymore, but they're still kind of anxious, maybe get out the slime and just change your lesson plans. Get the slime out and let everybody play with slime, because it's super, I think it's relaxing to play with. And it will kind of like calm their nerves down. So I usually keep my slime for about 2 weeks, unless somebody gets sick, then it goes in the trash. And if my slime, I see it's getting kind of like weird textured, I'll put it in the fridge overnight, and I don't know what the cold does, but it kind of makes it all come back together. Yes, you can absolutely use regular glue, Ashley, and I'm going to make some with regular glue in a minute. So some of the other mix-ins I like to use, so since we have this blue slime, like what else can you do with it, right? So you can either grab some counters, and maybe I just grabbed these ocean ones, since a lot of people are probably doing ocean right now. And once the slime kind of comes together, it doesn't really stick too much. I mean, they'll get it in there and they'll get the slime stuck on it, but it peels off pretty easy. And when they peel it off, they're using those fingers, so it's great fine motor. But they can, you know how you play like hide? You have them hide something in Play-Doh, and then they give it to a friend and their friend has to find it. Well, do that with slime too. Hide it in the Play-Doh and then have their friend have to find it. And it's great fine motor, it's great problem solving. They're using their senses to find the object. Or they can just put the counters in, and they can kind of make, just kind of like they do with Play-Doh. They can just play with it and have fun, make a little ocean scene and pretend with the crabs. You can give everybody some slime and get out a dice and have them roll the dice, and they get, that many counters. They can count them out. You can use a color dice, and they get to pick that color counter. So it's a fun way to add math and literacy. So you can use slime as kind of like your base for games, and just put some counters in, like instead of having like a printable mat, just have them roll the dice and put that many counters in their slime. And you can use it for any theme, but it's super fun. Another fun mix-in to use is, like I said, we made brown slime for farm. And then we actually added these worms, and they're not real. They're those like fishing worms, but they look real, don't they? So they put these worms, they're just in the fishing section at like Walmart, and they had little tails on them, and I cut them off. But I just put the worms in the brown slime, and they were playing with them and manipulating them. So it's really great fine motor. So you can put manipulatives in them. And if your manipulatives get stuck, like let's say there's some slime stuck on these, just put your counters that have slime on them, put them in a bowl of water and let them soak overnight or for a couple hours. And that slime, it'll all kind of dissolve in the water. And it'll come off super easy. So just throw them in some water, let them sit, and you're good to go. Which sea animals do I have? So I have these Learning Advantage aquatic counters, but I will say there's a lot of animals in here, but you only get like 5 each, just so you know. Because I bought these, actually gonna use them for stews, and there's only like 5 animals of each, and I needed 10. So just so you know, if you buy these aquatic counters, there's only like 5 of each animal, but there's a ton of them, and they're really bright and colorful too. And you can also use like regular like little animals too. It doesn't have to be counters. Just use kind of whatever you have on hand and just put them in there. All right, so now I'm gonna make white slime, and then I'm gonna show you some other cool things that we do. So we can add literacy and some more math. So I'm just gonna put this to the side. I'm gonna get my bowl, and this time I'm gonna use some white glue. Holly says, does it always have that nasty smell? Oh, the worms? I actually wash the worms off with water first. So, okay, so I just get all the glue out. And then I, again, use the same glue bottle, and I pour the water in. Oops. And then I'm just gonna whisk the glue, and I'm gonna whisk it so it all comes together. Try not to make a giant mess here for you guys. And then, and then if you wanna add glitter, let's see. Let's do something a little different. So they have sequins at the dollar store, and they also have these like glitter packets at the dollar store sometimes too, that are really fun for slime mix-ins, and they're cheap. So let's put in a thing of pink, and where's my scissors? So we'll put in some pink, and then maybe some blue. And then I'll just use the same bottle and get my liquid starch. And you'll see that last hunk of glue will come out on you when you put in that liquid starch. And then use your spoon. All right, so the one time I make it on Facebook Live, it doesn't work. Hold on. Right? So this one's not coming together as much, and I wonder if it's because I spilled the water in it a little bit. So if it's ever runny like this and it's not coming together like it would since I'm on Facebook Live, I would just add some more glue to it. There it is. So it's starting to come together. So it's probably because the water splashed out. And then I'll just add another little hunk. All right, of course, right? When I am on Facebook Live, it doesn't turn out. Hashtag real teacher life when this happens to you in the classroom. And you're like, oh no. So, all right. So now it's a little sticky. All right, so we're gonna go with this, and I'm just gonna kind of play with it while we talk for a minute, and we'll see if it comes together. Okay, so those, like I said, those sequins are at the dollar store, and they have glitter, those little glitter packs at the dollar store. Sometimes they have glitter glue at the dollar store. So for this slime, I used the Scholastic off-brand white glue, and it was not like coming together. So I just put in a little blob of white glue, mixed it, and it still wasn't coming together, and I put in another little blob of white liquid glue, and it's coming together. And it was a little sticky. I was a little worried there, but look. Sometimes you just gotta play with it. If your slime ever doesn't come out, don't just pitch it, because I've had that happen before. I'm like, oh, this is never gonna work. So just keep playing with it, and look at this, guys. Like, it's not even on my hands anymore. Like, it just came together. And let's say it doesn't come together. Take the bowl and just set it to the side, because sometimes those ingredients just have to mesh together. And if anybody knows that science term, put it in the comments for me besides mesh. And sometimes it just needs to all like come together, and you'll go back over there and it'll work. So yeah, so here is the white slime with just some sequins in it. And there's a little bit of blue glitter because I use the same spoon. So one thing that is also fun to do is, let me move everything off my tray, is to use scissors with slime. And your scissors won't get ruined. It'll be fine. Oh, goodness. So if you need to work on scissor skills, what is more fun than cutting slime? So they're just practicing that motion. And they're probably going to hold it like with their thumb to their belly. But if you're just needing them to practice that open and close motion, just have them cut slime. And these are just they're regular scissors. They're literally scissors I popped out of my art center. And if they get gross, just run them under water and they'll be fine. And if there's a little spot of slime on them that doesn't come off, usually when it dries, you can just peel it right off the next day. So you guys, like, how much fun is that? This is a little bit hard to cut because I have sequins in it, but so if you're using scissors, Probably don't put sequins in it, maybe use like glitter. And it's really fun, it's already coming together. And so some other things that's really fun to do with school glue is, and I'm gonna move it a little bit down so you can see it. Okay, so I have my white glue, or my white slime. Now, if you have like markers that are starting to get old and gross, like don't use your new markers for this, but they can color or they can write in the slime. So hello. Or maybe you want them, maybe you can have them just do dots. Maybe you're just working on grasp and they can just make dots in the slime. And like I said, don't use your new markers because they'll get gross. These will have to turn into your slime markers, whatever markers you're using. But yeah, they can just color. They can write their words. Kind of whatever you guys want to do. They can write letters. They can write numbers. And then, well, I was going to write the word and then they can watch it melt. Shoot. Let me try one more time. Okay. So let's say you write, I'll just make a big letter. So I'll make a big H. And then when they pick it up, they can watch it kind of melt. And then what'll happen is I don't know if you can kind of see it, but the colors will mix. So it's also really fun if you're doing color mixing. So give everybody like a little chunk of white slime. I'm gonna move. So if you're doing a science study and you're doing color mixing, make a batch of white slime, give everybody a chunk, and just put out red, yellow, blue, and have them pick 2 colors. Color the slime. Here, we'll kind of do it really quick. So let's do blue. And they just want to put a whole bunch of that color in there. And see, your markers will get ruined. But use old ones and they'll be fine. And then here's some yellow. And you can say, oh, what color do you think the blue and the yellow are going to make together? And then they mix it. And look at what they're doing when they're mixing the colors. Look at all that fingers. Look at all those fingers moving. I'm gonna move it up a little bit, guys. Ugh, my tripod's tricky. Okay, so look, it's kind of, I had a lot of blue in there, but it's kind of like a greenish, like a sea green. And you can say, well, why do you think it's like a sea green? You can say, oh, I put, maybe I put more blue than yellow. Give them another piece and try it again. Well, what happens if you use more yellow than blue? So it's a very fun color mixing activity. So somebody says you cannot find liquid starch in Canada. So I would use that borax and contact solution recipe. I just haven't tried that one, honestly. It's not that I don't like that one. This is just the one I've always used. So yeah, so just use that one. And it usually, from what I've seen, it turns out pretty good for everybody too. I've actually never made fluffy slime. I know, crazy, right? Like I totally need to try that. But yeah, I've never made it. So this was white slime and now it's colored. So yeah, fun for color mixing. And then, so you can use slime with the counters. You can use slime with the counters and the dice. You can use it for color mixing, for cutting. You can use it to just draw and write on. Some other fun things to do with it are, you can just add in beads. And just, when you add in like beads or anything like a little bit chunkier, I put it in, I'm trying to think. I think I put it in, I'm gonna have to double check, but I put it in the bowl before it like completely comes together. Like you don't want it to be like this and then try and mix in the beads or whatever. They'll like pop out. So put the beads in before you do the liquid starch. That's when I do it. That's right. Okay, sorry. So do the water and the glue in the bowl and then add your beads and mix it all in and then add your starch. And if for some reason it's not mixing together, because sometimes that happens when I use bigger mix-ins, just let it sit for a little bit and it'll usually come together, and then just play with it. So you can too put in the beads or whatever. This slime's gonna be a hot mess when we're done. So these beads are, I think they're from the dollar store. Those are from Walmart. So you can put beads in, and you can see they're like right there. So those are fun to put into. And if you're using like colored beads, you can have them pick out the beads, and you can have them sort them by color. So have them find all the beads, and you can make it into a game. You can be like, oh, we're going on a treasure hunt. Can you find, how many blue beads can you find? And like do like ready, set, go. Who can find the most blue beads? And they'll be like, oh my gosh, let me see, which ones can I find? So make it really fun. So they can be sorting with the colors, with the beads. And it's also a fun texture, because when you play with it, you can kind of feel the beads in there, and you'll feel the bumps in there, and you can see them as I make them go down. And you can add in more. You don't have to add in the couple like I did. Some other fun things to do are like eyeballs, if you're doing like feelings, or if you're doing slime. Usually, somebody asks, Stephanie said, is it hard to get them out? And like I just pick it out. And my 3-year-old, we did letter slime this year, and they picked out the letters, and they can pick it out. So 3-year-olds can do it. I don't know about 2-year-olds because the beads are so tiny. I don't know if their pincers are there yet. But yeah, if somebody has a class of 12, I usually would probably make 2 glitter glue bottles. So you can make, so if you have a class of 12, for small group time, with one group of 6, make a batch, and then with another group, make another batch. I will say though, if you make rainbow slime, it does turn brown and nucky. So if you want to make 2 different colors, make 2 that like come together pretty, like green and blue, or you know, pink and purple. 2 that when they do mix, it actually makes a pretty color. So another fun thing to do is, I was saying letter slime. So these are the beads I use for letter slime. And these are just from Michael's. And so I make the slime, and I just put the letters in it. And I actually, when I make letter slime, I use clear glue and just this iridescent glitter. And I put a link to this, to how to make the, if you want to see it like step by step, putting like a bead in, it's in the top of this post on my blog. So yeah, so I usually use clear glue and like an iridescent glitter, and then the beads, so the beads stick out and you can see them really easy. But yeah, they can just put the letters in, and they can like, you know, for small group, for the first 5 minutes or something, you can say, everybody find a letter with a straight line, and everybody can find a letter with a straight line and say the name. And then, you know, at first 5 minutes when you're talking about the letters, then they can just play with it. They can also take out the beads and make letters or make words with it. That's really fun. I know at the dollar store, they usually have these where I am, so these would work too. You can also do, if you're doing shapes, like I know there's like heart beads you can use. Sometimes there's square beads. You can also mix in, these are like jewels. I will say, these are probably too big. These are from Michael's. These are a little big for slime, because like that big like purple one would probably pop out. When you're doing slime, you probably want stuff the size of maybe like the end of your pinky at the biggest. So yeah, so that way it doesn't pop out. And if it does pop out, usually it doesn't go like crazy. It just kind of like pops out on the tray. And I always give kiddos, when I give them slime, I just give everybody a tray. And that way it kind of contains the slime. Not always, but most of the time. You can make shape slime. So actually, I have these like big foam shapes, and these are way too big for slime. So what I do is I just take, a pair of scissors, and I just cut them up, and I make just small shapes like this. So that way they're kind of that big. And then you have shape slime. And so you can make triangles, or maybe you do like a shape a week. You could make triangle slime and just cut up a whole bunch of little triangles. You can use like those foam, just the big pieces of foam, just cut up a whole bunch of triangles. You can make like a shape of the week slime, which would be really fun. You can do that. So have like all triangles in your slime, and you can find different ones, like find the big ones and find the small ones and find the red ones and the blue ones, or whatever it is. So yeah. And then another fun thing that I just started doing this year is, so I for my class, I make these nameplates at the beginning of the year for everybody. And we use them for different things. Use them for tracing. You can use them for mini erasers. And I actually have these in my Teachers Pay Teacher store. I think they're free. 99% sure they're free. But it's just a PowerPoint, and you just put it their name on there. And when I start the year, we do all capitals. Oh, it got on my spoon. See, and you can see if it gets in the scissors, like it just like comes right off. Because I accidentally put my slime down on my scissors. So yeah, so if you don't worry about your scissors getting yucky, because it peels right off. So you can put your name card down, and then they can manipulate the slime to make their name. Now, is it gonna be like, now if you have kindergarten, it'll probably like, you can probably like really see their name. But if you have like little guys, or if you do it at like back to school, it's probably not gonna be very recognizable as their name, but that's okay. But you can see there's an N and then the I, and it just, since it's laminated, and I just use those laminating pouches, nothing fancy, it just peels right off. No big deal. So that, oh, my slime's coming off. So yeah, so you can use these name cards and make slimy names with them. So just have them, or you can have them use the scissors too. Maybe they want to stretch the slime, and maybe they can cut long lines and make it that way. That might be easier for them. I just thought of that just now. So yeah. So fun. Okay, so another fun thing to do. So what I do to store it is I just put it in a plastic like Tupperware container. I just put it in anything plastic Tupperware so it has a lid. This week we made such a big batch of slime. I didn't have a Tupperware that big, and I put it in a baggie and it opened it, kind of like leaked onto the floor. But it was okay, like not a big deal. So yeah, so I just put it in a plastic Tupperware container, and I keep it in the art center, and then they can get it as an art choice, and I keep my slime in the art center. We don't have slime all the time. We just have it some of the time. But yeah, so. But do you guys have any slime questions? Oh, how to get it out of people's hair. So, like you can see, like I have long hair. Like if they're stretching it and doing all these crazy things, it's probably gonna get in the girl's hair sometimes. So just take like a wet washcloth. It's like not like dripping wet, but pretty wet. And just kind of like put it in their hair and just slowly wipe it out, because the water will dissolve the glue and the starch, and it'll just kind of be like that hard chunk, and then it'll come out in the bath. And same thing with clothes. So if they get a big chunk on their clothes, what I do is I just take a bowl and I soak that, I fill the bowl up with water, not glue. I soak that part of the shirt in the glue, or I soak the gluey slime part of their clothes in the water, and it dissolves that the starch in the glue. And then I just take it out and I put it in a plastic bag and then send it home to mom, because then when they wash it, it won't be all hard. Because if a mom or dad washes slimy clothes that have chunks of slime on them, it might get stuck to their other clothes, or when it comes out that first time, it'll be like a hard spot. So yeah, but it won't hurt anything, because it's just starch and glue and water. Where can you buy the cheapest place? Where's the cheapest place to buy liquid starch? At Walmart. I want to say maybe this big old thing is like $3. And I probably use maybe 1 or 2 a year. So I don't use a lot of this. And then I know during back to school time, like they had this glue for $1 somewhere. So I bought like 15 or something. So during back to school, I just buy a ton of glue and glitter glue. And like, at back to school, I think I got these for like 10 cents each one day at Office Depot. So yeah. But do you guys have any other questions for me? That's about it I had on slime. So again, it's just equal parts glue and then water. And you don't have to use bottled water, just room temperature water. So take the glue, dump it in the bowl, take the water, pour it in here to measure, use equal parts, and then whisk it together, and then add in your mix-ins. So add in your glitter, and yes, I do have a big jar of glitter. Add in your glitter, and then whisk it again, and then add in your liquid starch and use the same glue bottle and pour it in, but this time use a spoon and mix it all up, and you should be good to go. Remember, if it doesn't come together, just get it out and start playing with it, and it should come together. And if it doesn't, just set it to the side. Don't throw it away because it might turn out yet. At the top of this post, there's links to the newsletter. Sign up for that. I do exclusive freebies and fun stuff on the newsletter. So sign up for that and join the group. And if you have any questions, hop over to the group because I'm in there sometime every day and answering questions. And if not, some other amazing teachers are in there to answer your questions too. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a fabulous night. Bye.